Okay, so what has been the most challenging part of running a business for you in the last 3 years?
I think it's still the people. Because like we said before, we just like serendipitously had this connection, and we've been the sole founders and runners of this business for like multiple years now. And then other people have come and went. But I think the difficult part for me is like I think this goes back to this like all this organizational theory and stuff like that I read about in the past, right? Where companies exist because it's a collection of people with a common goal. So that's like a company of people, and it's a corporation. And then legally that's defined, as some sort of like superhuman. But it's comprised ultimately of people who need to share the same vision. So I think having...
And tolerate each other.
People
exactly. Who can stand each other.
Yeah, or at least understand how to resolve conflicts to get over the immediate conflict in favor of like reaching whatever strategic goal that they had. So that's like the hardest part, because you can never predict how other people really feel, most of the time, until they're confronted with something that they have to overcome. Then you really know their true feelings about something, right? So one example would be work ethic. I think that's really difficult to predict, because especially on other people that you haven't worked with a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why we both work well together. Like we both have like very... I don't know if it's sometimes a bad thing for each of us, because we can just go, but we it's just this customer service and customer experience. Like if we have a client delivery, we have to make sure it gets done. If we have an operational in-house thing that needs to be done, we have to make sure it gets done. So there's that sense of
responsibility, accountability.
And we don't have to, like, if Angela is taking care of something, I have extreme confidence that it's being taken care of.
Here.
And that gives me the space to focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. But I think we both had experiences where that's not always the case when you work with other people. I've had the opportunity to hire and fire.
Opportunity to fire.
But it's
a learning experience.
It's a learning opportunity
for everyone.
Because there are instances where you have someone who, from just being a human, you wanna help them. You want to help them keep their job, but they're just consistently not delivering. There's only so much that you can.
Exactly.
But jokes aside, like people is, I agree. People is one of the hardest part of running a business.
Another thing that's hard is, I think, not knowing what you don't know is very difficult. I had the benefit of having you as a co-founder, where you've gone through a lot of like startup pains and know how to do things. Like, case in point, there's someone else I know of who's trying to start a business, and then that person had sunk so much money at the beginning into like insurance and like insuring the business and hiring a lawyer to set up the business, where it's like an employee count of 1, which is the founder, right? And you would tell me like 3 years ago, that's all useless, just get started, right?
I remember I was having this conversation, and we're like, oh, we need to get a lawyer. I'm like, no, we need a template, we need an agreement between the two of us, this is how we work. But obviously we had the founder agreement, like a proper founder agreement, the shareholders agreement.
That came in handy.
Because I had those from previous things that I'd been doing. And then even in terms of how we set up the company, we're like, oh, we should go. I remember the first time I had to do this with some other people. They wanted us to, like, in setting up the company, which that should have been a red flag, but now that I think back, because we're like, oh, let's set up a company. It was also supposed to be a consulting company too, and they were like, oh no, you know what, we need to hire a lawyer. They were really insistent on hiring a lawyer. We ended up paying $3,000 for the lawyer to give us a template for a founder's agreement. When I looked at it versus the one I had before, there was nothing significantly different. I'm like, why did we just waste $3,000? We could have just used this. So I think and that's also one of the reasons why we work well together. I know where you're an expert in, and then I trust that expertise. Yeah,
like you were pretty much a starter pack. Setting up your own small,
even my first set of business taxes, I filed them myself. You get to a point where, and even remember the first time we had to do our financial model. Oh my God. like a lot of founders, that's something they struggle with, like building a financial model. But I think for us, it wasn't too difficult because MBAs, we've kind of struggled. We had some experience with that, and
it felt like a school project.
It felt like it's exactly. And I recall there was this program that I was in, and then they had assigned us a fractional CFO, like this really experienced guy with like over 30 years who as a CFO, and he was meeting with each founder. When he got to my turn, and I sent him, because they were like, oh, if you already have something, send it to us, we'll review it. When I sent him my financial model, like it had, forecasts for balance sheet, income statement, cash flow projections, the assumptions, and it was like, you're way ahead of a lot of people.
That's the difference between someone who's actually done it and someone who's like purely theoretical.
So it's been an interesting journey, like all of those bits and pieces of knowledge here and there, it's kind of all coming together, and it's been fun.
It's probably like, where does your business actually come from? Because if you don't have business coming in, you are not, in my opinion, yet a business. You are an aspiration. Maybe you incorporate it, but just because you have a business number, you are not a business. To me, you're only a business when you start getting business. And
sales. Selling.
That's like the hardest part, especially for someone who has never done sales or haven't realized what sales really is. Like, it's not what you just traditionally think of, like, you go buy a car and the person there has sales on his name tag, so you're like, that person is in sales. But sales is actually all around us, and even a casual chat between friends might be a sales pitch, and you just haven't realized it, right?
That's an interesting part. I think now having to run businesses that are more B2B, because I think a lot of my prior experiences have been a lot of B2C. I think we make good salespeople just by the virtue of how we are and how
because
we
do the work, so we can walk the talk. So then when we are selling people, we're actually just telling them how we do something, and then they can either like that and hire us for it, or find somebody else.
We're not like, oh, you must hire us, or we just tell you this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is why we think we can work for you. And we'll also like to learn, like, okay, what's your situation? Is it something that fits into the kind of stuff that we have going on?
Being relevant and addressing someone's actual pain point is the most important part of sales. Because if they don't need you, why would they pay for it?
And then we also don't even force. I think we've had instances where we've told someone, like, we don't think you should be, especially for the technical shred grants. We're like, we don't think you should be applying for
we
shred
don't think you
year.
would
like,
qualify.
You wouldn't qualify, like, maybe, like, it's not a do or that kind of business for us. Like, it's not a must get the sale kind of perception. But it's been a good learning, at least for me. So,
But I think that brings us full circle, because I think having that attitude is also a privileged attitude, in that we are not solely dependent on the money coming in through our business in the initial stages for our survival. If you are, then that, like, desperation, I think, eats you up, and then the way you behave in front of other people is really different. It all comes back to non-diluted funding opportunities at the start of a company, having that cash pile to know you can operate for the next like 2 to 3 months while you acquire and scale clients, or customers, whatever you're selling to.
That's a good
and it
point.
goes all the way back full circle now to why we started Grant Sparrow, because we understand what it's like to start a business, and we can only imagine what it's like to start a business where that's your only option.